All right, great evening, everyone. It's your main two guys, Wes and the man Batman, here for another one. Yeah, it's been one of those hectic weeks. It would be one of those hectic weeks where I would like, yeah, I'm come up on here all brag and be like, yeah, we're gonna do one a minimum one per week. Yo, man, God has a sense of humor, and but hey, it's not midnight yet, so we did keep our commitment of at least one per week. Man, how has your week been, man? Mine has been hectic. Batman, what
Man,
about you, buddy?
yeah, it's been definitely that on my end as well, but it's also like a wait and see moments too, man. And with this new administration where we left, just to tap on a little bit where we left off last week, it's like it's like, I think my man, quote unquote, my man is trying to he's trying to prove too much too soon. So it's like a wait and see moment.
Yo, listen, dude came out the gate swinging for the fences.
Swinging like we playing. Yeah, like we playing stickball. When I was a kid back in New York, we used to play stickball instead of like wiffle ball back.
Listen,
You know what I mean? He's swinging for everything. He's
he
swinging
came
hard.
and he was like, "I told you so."
Yeah. He couldn't wait to show and prove. You know what I mean? So that's basically what he's trying to do: show and prove right now.
So you know what? Actually, right before this call, my pops reached out to me, and he was like, "Yo, Wes, like, are you trying to like vacate the country? Like, how does the president feel?" I was like, "Pops, really and truly, whoever's in the White House doesn't really affect me immediately. Like, there's no direct effect on me. Like, I still have to get up and work. Like, my day-to-day operations don't change much if there's a Republican in the White House or a Democrat. And I don't want to sound insensitive, like it doesn't affect me. It does affect me, but it doesn't immediately like if I don't have a federal job, so whoever is in the White House, those who have federal jobs, they get affected immediately or directly. It doesn't do that for me. So I told my dad, I'm like, nah, I mean, it's just business as usual. You know what I mean? We're just gonna have to. This is just ebbs and flows. He's been here before. It's not like this is some new guy. Like he did 4 years already, and I survived. I actually thrived in those 4 years. So I think the smart people are just gonna have to find creative ways to capitalize off of what he was doing. Today I listened to a ET video on motivation and Dr. Eric Thomas, and he was like, COVID, when a lot of people were folding, he and his team looked back and he was like, yo, I can write a book during this time where everybody's trying to stay away from everybody. All right, cool. I'm gonna stay inside, stay healthy, take my vitamin C, and write a book that's gonna give me residual or passive income during the storm. So his team accelerated during COVID. So those are the smart people who are able to take any situation and turn it into a positive.
Okay. But with that said, though, right? What comes to mind when everyone, like we all talk about the fallout of COVID? The person in the office gets the credit, but was it the actions of the person in the office that actually deserved the credit? Because what happened, if you understand how policies work, the policies were put in place prior to that administration that was in office. So it looked like he, yes, he got the credit, but was it the actions of what he did? Because it takes a time. Mm-hmm. So basically, the credit goes to the person that was in office prior to him.
Yeah, that's what Obama always said, is like, yeah, I handed you the best.
He handed him exactly
the situation.
Exactly. And and I'm not jumping on his throat, so to speak, to say that he didn't deserve any credit, but the credit that the policies that he put in place actually jumped into play to the next administration. So yes, the office got the credit, and who's in the office get the credit. But I think I mean, you know, I think a lot of us has been misled by that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't. I'm not. I truly believe, my belief is that the Democrats and the Republicans, they're just wings of the same bird, the same eagle. One is the left wing, one is the right wing of the same bald eagle. So, yeah, I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not anti-Obama. I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not pro-Obama. I'm just like, vote your interests. And at the end of the day, I'm always going to have America, what's best for America, at the forefront
definitely
of my decision, because I live here and my kids live here. So
definitely,
yeah, I'm not gonna ever. You're never gonna hear me talking no anti-America talk or I wish this country burned. Nah, I live here, and whatever has the best interest for America, whatever that looks like. Yeah. So that's my angle.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, and don't get me wrong. I was just pointing out the effect of the policies.
Yeah.
You know, I was not, you know, saying, you know, I'm pretty much, you know, against him. I was just bringing to light that, you know, the actual effect of the policies does not take effect right away. So therefore, when a new administration comes in, I mean, you know, some of the policies that have been put into effect, then whoever is in the office is going to make it seem like it. Not to say discredit him, what he has done, but right now, you know, just moving forward and passing all of that, we're definitely in stuff a wait and see moment, because it's just like on our main topic, what we're going to talk about tonight. You know, some things that we do today is not going to affect us today. The fallout from it is going to come over time. And, you know, the fallout, you know, when it comes to politics and stuff, I mean, you know, and I know we're going to get off of this in a second, but, you know, the effect of what someone is doing today is not going to show tomorrow. It does not happen that fast.
Yeah. So that's what you're describing is called a trailing metric. So it's like what you do now, it's not going to show immediately. Sometimes it's in small business, it's like at least a quarter or sometimes a year. But of course, in something that's macro as the presidency, it's almost 4 years.
Right, exactly. You know, so yeah, we definitely waiting and see moment and stuff, because he's trying to I mean, you know, like the effect, I'm quite sure that, you know, the 4 years that, I mean, you know, President Trump actually sat on the sidelines, he's have time to you know, to gather his team and gather his thoughts and whatever actions and stuff, because, you know, the first 4 years was like kind of a surprise. He wasn't really ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now what's up? The next 4 years is like, oh, this is what I was supposed to do. This is what I was supposed to say. Now I'm really gonna get my hustle on. So
yeah, that's what a lot of people describe it as in the barbershop. People were like, he was like, yo, I'm gonna run for president. And he was like, yo, I won? Oh,
yeah.
What do I do now?
What do I do now? Exactly.
So he's coming back now. Like, again, why we see him being so proactive is that he had those 4 years to be like, look, when I get back in, day one, he was just signing. Before we jump into the last the topic is, how do you feel? Like, I saw a couple posts on my feed, and people were like, a lot of African Americans were kind of like indifferent about what the Hispanics were experiencing. Like, what's your view on that? Do you feel that African Americans should be taken up or should be more concerned with the Hispanics that are being deported? It has been known that African Americans have always been at the forefront of everybody else's causes except their own. Like, I'll give you one example. I won't tell you where I was, because that's gonna, of course, give it away. But I remember being at an event, and just as regurgitating what I'm used to hearing, black and brown people, everything is black and brown. And one of the Hispanic brothers G-checked me thoroughly the way he should. He was like, yo, Wes, don't worry about brown. We can worry about ourselves. You guys worry about your own people. And right then, I was like, at first I was kind of like, nah, don't tell me who to worry about. Then I was like, he's right. He's like, we are always this black and brown, black and brown, black and brown, but you never hear them saying brown and black, brown and black, brown and black. If it is, it's on a small level. So do you feel like this should be our battle as well? Or is this something where, like Tariq Nasheed would always say, like, it's time for you to hold your own nuts?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day and stuff, we all, I mean, in the same bleachers. Whether we're in the bleachers watching the game of play or we in the game of play, we're all in the same stadium, right? I mean, just just speaking from a soldier standpoint, it doesn't matter when we go overseas and stuff, right? It doesn't matter if you're black or you're brown or you're Caucasian or white or whatever. When the so-called enemy, actually fires their shots, they're firing the shots at you as an American. So when if I was to use that terminology, firing the shots, when the shots come from the White House, it affects all of us, right? It does not, differentiate. Okay, this is for the blacks and this is for the Hispanics and this is for the whites, and it affects you as an American. So we should all be concerned. Like the only part that I think we need to be more identifying for us is for us to hold the politicians who come seeking our votes, what is going to affect our community. And I'm speaking about, when it comes to, our community and stuff, even though, like we all live amongst each other, but when it comes to giving grants and stuff to, the small black businesses and small, minority businesses, does the SBA differentiate whether you're Hispanic or whether you're black or whether you're Chinese or whether what other ethnic group, do they actually differentiate that? So, I mean, so those are the things that we need to be concerned about when it's time to differentiate what part of the community we are, is by holding the people that are seeking our vote. So therefore we could reap the rewards of it. And, when it comes to different, classifications of actually getting benefits from the federal government. But if we don't hold them, accountable from the very beginning, then when they pass the laws and stuff, then we all going to feel, we all out there and stuff. So we should hold those people accountable when they're seeking our vote. So make sure that the things that they're going to pass when they get back in Congress or Senate or whatever and stuff, it will come out to our communities and stuff. So yeah, we do have to make sure that the people that we're voting for understand our need, our causes, and therefore so we can get some of the effects of it. But if we don't vote, then we just have to take what we get. You know what I mean?
Enough said. All right, man. Well, let's jump into the topic real quick. What do you have for our wonderful tribe this evening? What's on the top of your mind?
Yeah, well,
look at the camera and got some ashy knuckles. I'm gonna apply some lotion while you talk. Tell them what the topic is. Looking like Ashy Larry over here.
Ashy Larry. Yeah. So it's more or less our topic is more or less, are we raising soft kids today? Right. I can remember how I verbalized it to you, but correct me if I'm wrong. I did remember we're saying that are we raising soft kids? And the fact is, a caveat to that is, can women raise strong men, strong kids? Right?
Okay.
So, we talk about, the way society is and stuff. Definitely from our age bracket and stuff, we came up different, right? We came up different. But again, this is the wait and see moment, right? So the fact of us being raised in a certain era, now we're seeing how we turned out to be. 30, 40 years later.
Mm-hmm.
do we want to take that chance and see how our kids, I mean, some of us might not be around to see our kids turn out to be 40 and 50 years old, depending on how old, we were when we started our kids. So we might not really see the complete effect of it, but we can see some of the effect right now. I mean, of the 90 babies, right? I mean, the 90 babies is today. I mean, a baby that was born in the 90s. As a matter of fact, I actually have a daughter that was born in the 90s, and she's 30 years old today. So she's prime. She's an example of that time frame. Are we raising soft? Are we, by we raising these kids today, which is 2024, 2025, what you think they're going to turn out to be? I mean, 30 years from now.
Well, let me preface by saying this. Every generation that I can think of always say that the generation after them is more diluted, is not as strong, is not as, so that's a fair assumption. Now, to answer your question, are we raising soft kids? You and I are not raising soft kids, but is the generation softer? Man, softer than a Twinkie filling.
Exactly. I mean,
like honey bun soft. It's like I always tell my son, man, I said, son, all you got to do is be well-read, well-traveled. That's it. When you open your mouth, as long as no mumble rap, no mush mouth stuff come out, when you open your mouth, intelligence come out.
Right.
You stay out of jail and you be well-read and well-traveled, and you're going to have a great life, because I know who his competition is. They soft like a Twinkie filling.
Right.
Like this, the generation is so that, like, now, if you let them speak, they'll be like, oh, I'm strong, I'm big and strong, blase, blase. But if you raise your voice, they're in the corner crying. Like, so yes, this generation is definitely softer. Like, and I'm not worried for my son at all. Nah, because my son is tough like Nigerian hair,
Right.
But it's my daughter in regards to her finding a suitable spouse. That's who I worry about. So I'm not worried about my son. Like, he's gonna be a good pick for somebody's daughter. It's my son who I'm like, is her dad raising a dude who's soft like a Twinkie filling.
Right.
And when he sees her, because she was raised by me and she knows the minimum she can bring home is her brother, like, it's gonna be hard for these dudes to level up or be on the same standards as her brother. You know what I mean? And that's where my concern is. And the generation, man, when I see that, some of the rubbish and the debauchery and the degenerate behaviors from men that are supposed to be like when we were growing up, man, we'd have a little sag on our pants, like a little sag, right? Yo, and I was at a conference, man, and I had a table with some books.
Yeah.
And I saw this gentleman, this young dude, started coming towards the table. And I kid you not, he didn't walk over to the table. He waddled over to the table like a duck.
Yeah.
Like, his pants were so low he couldn't walk. Like he waddled like a duck over, like, because his legs could only go this big, like this far, like, because again, when I was in high school, it was a little sag, like a cool sag. You have your ballies on, little sag, and you're good. But this ain't sag no more. It's the pants was by his knees. So he had on his pants, his main pants was by his knees. He had on another pants with the belt, and then his boxers. And I was
Wow.
like, looking at him, I was uncomfortable. I was like, I feel uncomfortable looking. I'm like, so, hey, anyway, I got sidetracked, but that's when I think of those are the options that my daughter have to choose from. It looks bleak, man.
Yeah, very. I mean, very bleak. And I think we kind of strayed away from the, and I touched on it a little bit earlier, but I think who would you say? Oh, what percentage with the fact of our families falling apart and stuff? The majority of these young men are being raised by a bunch of single family parents.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let me see. Did I say that right? Yeah, a bunch of single parents, and the majority of the time, the kids are being raised by moms because the pops will either got pushed out of the household, whether it's a voluntary. I mean, if it's a voluntary departure of the fact that, I mean, like most families are not fighting for each other anymore, because the exit sign is just so radiant over the door. Like, hey, I could just leave, I could just walk out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as opposed to back in the 40s and 50s and stuff when families were actually staying together and stronger together. So today, the fathers are made out to be looking like the bad guy. And of course, and stuff like the mom is being, I mean, is whatever her motive might be, is to turn the kids away from the father, whether it's for like her selfish means, whether she's so distraught and stuff, she wants to turn the kids against their father. And now, I mean, so now the father is looked at like the bad guy. And then again, and stuff, society and stuff, like the laws are not in favor of the man, just a little, just a little bit of giving everybody, a little bit of insight about us. I was fortunate to get custody of my kids. You got custody of your kids. You know what I mean? But
because of you, yo, you were like, yo, Wes, you gonna let another man raise you? Bro, fight for your kids.
Exactly.
Like, I won. I was like, I can fight and I can win. Like,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen, this man right here. Like, take a screenshot. This is the genesis. Like, that's why I'm indebted to him forever. Like, if it's one thing, he put that seed, he planted that seed, and he said, Wes, I remember exactly where we were at Southeastern Freight Line on the dock. He was like, yo, you gonna let another man, look, you're like, yo, Wes, don't let no other man raise your daughter, man. You got to protect your daughter. He was like, I fought for my kids and I got them. I was like, really?
Yeah.
So it's possible. Now, here's the irony. I'm at Dr. Attorney Dennis Sperlin's Facebook page, and he posted this today. The true facts about child custody for men. So who gets the custody and the support? So 18.3% of the time, fathers get granted custody. 81.7% mothers get custody. Now 28.8% fathers are the custodial parent. 53.4% the mothers are. How much support is awarded on an average? 5,000, about 5,600 for the father, about 6,100 for the mother annually. And how much support is received on the average? About 54% is go to the father and 63% on the dad. Now, on the mom, the studies actually prove that kids turn out better when they're raised by a single father rather compared to raised by a single mother. So this is not I want to be very clear. We're men here. We and our followers are men. We don't get caught up in emotions. We make decisions based on data. So take away the emotions, calm down, everybody. This is not the gospel according to West, the gospel according to Batman. The data says when you take an exact same child, if it was raised by that exact same, like if you have twin boys, and one is raised with the mother and one is raised by the father, the statistics say the one that's raised by the dad tend to turn out better and become a more productive member of society compared to the mother. There's no shades on mothers. This is what the data says.
Right.
All right. So yeah, the dads, when the child is given to the father, they tend to turn out to be more productive members of society.
Well, I mean, I could definitely, attest to that. I'm one of the fathers. As you stated earlier, man, I was determined. I was determined by the 6 o'clock. I was influenced, I should say. I was motivated by, as I can say, by the 6 o'clock news. Because, and when I say that, I'm pretty much, coming up and still am, I just make it my duty to always watch the news. And what I was seeing is what was on the 6 o'clock news. It was little kids that were being abused. And, there were some fathers on the 6 o'clock news crying. Oh, I couldn't hear my daughter. She was across town. I couldn't hear my son. He was across town. And I looked at that and I'm like, there's no difference from that brother on the news channel than to me.
Yeah. And
I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be on somebody's news channel. If I am, they're going to make a movie about me because my craziness will come out.
Like this soldier came up with the mission with the AK-47 blasting.
And so I was definitely motivated by that, and I wanted to secure my kids. And that's what just pushed me, man. I was, the 6 o'clock news and, like the Saturday morning conversations in the barbershops. I was not going to be one of those brothers sitting there thinking how I was going to be, expressing myself. Like in the fellowship moment, how I was manipulated by the moms and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I can't see my kids. I was not, I was determined not to be that brother sounding off.
Yeah.
I was not going to be in a barbershop looking for an amen corner. I was not going to be that brother. You know what I mean? I was going to be the brother that, and by like the blessings of the Father above, that I got the intestinal fortitude that not give up. And needless to say, man, and I shared it with my younger brothers, such as yourself, that it is possible for us to win. And when we got custody of, I got custody of my kids, my daughter, needless to say, she's a 30-year-old professor in her profession today.
Yeah.
And my son is an entrepreneur as well. He's 26. So that's the result of what I was fighting for. And not to say, to discredit some women, it is possible that some women are able to raise some strong kids, but it also goes on the experience of that woman, what she might have been through. So therefore she won't let her kids duplicate that in front of her. So, but the majority of it, going back to the percentage that you said that actually got custody of their kids, all women, the majority of the women do have a tendency to raise their kids a little bit on the soft side.
Yeah.
So this is where we need to have that balance, right? We need to have that balance and stuff, because as much as nurturing a woman could do, there's also a balance on the other side where the father comes in, of authority and discipline that needs to be implemented.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. So that is I just wanted to touch on that balance. I didn't want to discredit the sisters that's out there. Making the most of the situation that they've been handed to, or they put themselves in, or the situation evolve around them. So I didn't want to discredit them at all. But we do need to make sure and stuff that those kids are not turning out to be what we're seeing from, from the 90s. as far as the numbers might show from the 90s to today, we need to make sure that going forward and stuff, we need to more or less implement some kind of balance and stuff, so these kids won't turn out to be soft.
To piggyback on what you said, I think the problem, not the problem, the reason why it's like that is because mothers seek to protect their kids.
Right.
Fathers seek to prepare their kids. We know we can't protect. Like, this is a cold world out there. Like, look,
right.
I am not going to be here forever.
Right.
So I am going to give you all of the tools to prepare you. So for whatever you run into, you have the tools in your toolkit to get it. Mothers are like, no, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to keep you here. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to protect you. This is my baby, my baby. Fathers are like, that is, hey, that's a round trip ticket, a VIP ticket on the Titanic. We cannot protect them. We got to prepare them.
Right. Exactly. I mean, prepare. I mean, just, when something came to my mind, just as you said that, more or less and stuff that, I mean, some of these moms do not realize that what they're actually doing is not protect. I mean, is not preparing them, because when you're trying to protect so much, you're actually setting your kids up. You're actually setting them up.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking that you're going to be here forever.
Mm-hmm.
You're not always going to be here to protect them. So if you're giving them that false sense of security, and you telling them that you're going to be here to protect them, but a father, on the other hand, is preparing them. A father is being, a lot more realistic. Like, I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
So I can't be here, to stop you from falling. That concrete is going to hurt. I mean, on the flip side and stuff, like the mom is telling you, oh, well, little Johnny, I'm going to be there. If you slip and fall, I'm going to be there to catch you. No,
Mom is going to always be here for you.
Exactly. That's a setup. And that's a setup. And when someone sets you up, you're going to fail. The opposite of someone setting you up, the result of someone setting you up is more or less, on the flip side, you're going to fail. So, I mean, someone needs to prepare you. That's where you're going to stand firm at. You know what I mean? And even, this is not like a sister bashing, but this is where we need to implement that community comes into play, right? Yes, I mean, like they say, life be lifing, but at the same time and stuff, every situation might not turn out to be a healthy, a family environment where the mom and dad is there. But I mean, but at the same time now and stuff. So what about the community? I mean, the community could step in, and the community does not need to be someone on your block. The community means an uncle or a granddad, or an older brother, or older cousin. So that community where the mom seems to have ran her course and she could no longer do much more, the other men in the family need to step up and continue or to make up for the absence of the dad.
Yeah, I've seen it like that, where, like, I think back of the men. I mean, some of them, my tight homeboys growing up, whose dad was not in their life. In that absence, there were always uncles or men in the community. Like our baseball coach, and I hate to just use the word coach, but like I had a remarkable coach. So our baseball coach, sometimes at the PTA meetings, not that some of the boys didn't have their dad, because my dad was in my life, but sometimes my mom and my dad was working, and our coach would attend the PTA meetings with the team, and he would be representing all the parents on that day who couldn't attend the PTA meeting. So again, these were dads that are in their lives, but they had to work. And that one coach, rest in peace, Terrence Shinnery, was representing all of the team players whose parents were not there. So there was always a strong presence, a strong male presence. I want to be very clear. The men, my coach, these young boys couldn't survive 5 minutes around men like him. Like these were unapologetic men.
Right.
Ain't no toxic masculinity, none of that nonsense. Like, look, men, shut up, sit down, zip your mouth up, and soak up this game, or else.
Right.
Ain't no, no, bro. Listen, it was real quick. Like you threatening or attempting to question that authority was suicide quickly, and you would be chopped down quickly.
Right, exactly.
like, of course, as you get older and you begin to smell yourself, ever so often, someone gets lunatic and get brave, and quickly they're reminded, like, nah, no pussyfooting around. Like, these are men that will cut you down, send you home to your dad to get more cut down.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, you know, and that's what we lacking today, and that's what we was lacking. I think you know, back, I mean, you know, if you reverse time a little bit, you know, for example, the age of our kids right now, our kids in their upper 20s and lower 30s. If you go back and look at the era that these kids were born in, what was the topic of the day when it comes to social interference, social music, which where a lot of us get our guidance from at the time? You know what I mean? You know, I think people were singing about independent women. I mean, like women were singing, oh, you know, independency and all that.
Yeah, all my women who independent, throw your hands up in there.
Right. And that was a false that was a setup anthem, I should say, if some of those women actually follow that, because those are the kids of today is a result of that anthem, that the family structure was not held in place.
Mm-hmm.
And by those women making those decisions or not fighting to keep their family together, now we're seeing the result of those kids are growing up fatherless.
Yeah.
And this is why today in my profession, where, you know, I have a lot of men come for employment, and some of them, I mean, you know, some of them actually wonder, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, I could tell you didn't grow up with a father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could tell, you know, and, you know, I could tell that your father was not present in your life because of the way this man would approach certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and by the visible implementation of more estrogen as opposed to testosterone in his life, I would come home and then look at my kids and I'm like, there's no way that someone's gonna question you guys in my absence where your father was at when you was growing up.
Yeah.
So, you know, I want to make sure that no one was to, you know, look at my kids coming up, you know, coming before them, whether it's whether it's for a job application, interview, or affiliation. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's no way that you could have, you know, you could tell me and stuff that you didn't grow up around your dad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I mean, you know, and I always, you know, I often get the feedback from my oldest son. You know him well, you know, that, I mean, you know, that when he speaks, I mean, you know, he speaks and, you know, and his strength is displayed and stuff of independency. Mm-hmm. And that's what I told him. I mean, you know, he's not here to duplicate me. He's here to excel 10 times me. That's when I know I've done a good job on that. Yeah. So then they could stand on their own. But some of these men today now, they're 30, 40 years old and still living at home with moms. I mean, you know, so where did that come from?
Yeah.
The 90s, right? My son, you know, went to the service, came home, and I gave him a reset, but I also gave him a time frame for that reset.
Yeah.
And now, you know, I mean, you know, like I tasked him to show me the result of what I've done. I can't see what I put inside of you if you all up under me. No, I need you to go out there and show me that the things that I put in you is, the certain qualities that I put in you, my son and my daughter, so I could see the result of what I'm not going to be able to hear about it when I'm 6 feet under.
Yeah.
Or if we living in the world, or I'm up there in the angel or whatever. I want to see for myself. So you got to show me while I'm here. You know what I mean? So that's what I tasked my son and my daughter to do. And I was definitely determined to fight for them when I was, when they were younger. And my fight was definitely worthwhile, and they have my fingerprints on them as I was complimented by my family members, the older heads. So I'm definitely glad I pushed the envelope. And I'm quite sure you could say the same.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's no doubt that I know them, both of them personally. I have an intimate relationship with your son, and yeah, I mean he's you can clearly see your imprint on him. You know what I mean? And no sucker shit allowed. Man, it's a man. Ain't no sucker shit. Like none of that shit. Just like, yo, this is Ant. This came from Ant's tree. You know what I mean? So
right.
I definitely see that and see how vital that is to his survival, because we're not going to be here forever. And if we don't leave our sons better and stronger than us, they're going to fail, because the world that's coming behind us is going to be more technologically advanced, and it's going to be colder and harder. So they have to be fortified to be stronger than us. If they, like, the minimum, the floor, our ceiling has to be their floor, because remember back in the day, we used to be like, oh, like their competition is not, we live in Atlanta. Their competition is not in Decatur. Their competition is not in Lithonia. Their competition is not in Smyrna. Their competition is in India. Their competition is in South Africa.
Right.
Like, it's a global market now. So with these devices, they're not just competing with people here in Atlanta. Nah, they're competing with people in Europe.
Yeah.
And if they cannot compete, they're gonna fail. And what China is doing, like, their competition is real. So you can't come with no sucker shit.
Definitely. I mean, the world is getting smaller and smaller. And, just to allude what you were just touching on, with the advancement of technology, the world is definitely getting smaller, and you definitely have to be able to stand on your own, because someone overseas could easily get the job that you thought that you was about to take the number 5 or drive on the interstate to go get. They no longer need you to show up at work, because that person in South Africa, someone in India, someone in the Philippines, someone in China is going to get your job.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's definitely where we have to prepare them for tomorrow, and we can't be picking them up and dropping them off and being there to cushion their fall, because that world that we thought was just only going to be, just for our neighborhood, and we could show them how to outdo the kid next door, is no longer there. You know what I mean? You have to be able to stand strong.
The kid next door is in Dubai.
Exactly. I mean, so when it comes to raising our kids with the discipline, and therefore and stuff, with the, when we come to put the video games down, get your head in the book, and you need some discipline about that. We can't rely on just moms to do it. We have to step in, the fathers. I mean, when it comes to the community, the uncles and the grandfathers and all that and stuff, we have to make sure our kids are not soft. We cannot rely on, our sister, and based on, the choices that she might have made, whether it's her fault or not, to make sure and stuff that, that our nieces and nephews and stuff are just being raised by her anymore. You know what I mean? The world is changing too fast and too quick. And like the neighbors and stuff are not your only competition, as you alluded to. You know what I mean? It's definitely something that we have to make sure and stuff, that we cannot raise soft kids. So we cannot let emotions be be at the forefront when it comes to making a decision. Sometimes we have to make sure that they understand, effort is better than just saying I failed. No, you have to put more effort. I mean, I heard a wise quote one time that said, successful person is a person that tried one more time after he failed many times. Right?
I like that.
A
Say
successful
one more time for the people in the back of the room.
Yeah, a successful person is a person that tried one more time after he might have failed 100 times. So how are we going to teach our kids those things in the essence of don't give up? Right? Yeah. So, and not to discredit some of the sisters out there that's raising the babies, but do some of the sisters really put forth that effort as much as we, the fathers, would do that?
No, because it's based on how I feel.
Yeah.
I felt like giving up. My happiness is more important.
Yeah. And
like,
that comes right back to emotions. Yeah, emotions.
We operate off of, forget about how you feel. We have honor and we have duty.
Yeah.
That needs to be done regardless of how we feel. We're sick, we're hungry, it doesn't feel good, it's cold. Honor and duty.
Right.
Not painting with the broad brush, not saying all, but most are like, hey, I'm giving up right now because of how I feel. And when your young boy is seeing that, well, if I feel this way today, I can just give up. They're like, what?
No.
Like the men went down on the Titanic, not because they did it because they had honor and duty. We went down with the Titanic because that's what men do.
Exactly.
Not because, well, I feel like it should be equal. Like, nah, some of these boat, 50% should go to men and 50% should go to kids. Nah, it's like, look, the women and the kids get on the boat and we go down with the ship because that's what men do. It's forget about how you feel. It's unfair. We are going down with the Titanic because that's what men do.
That's right.
That's different.
That's right. And some of these young men, just to parallel that, they actually taught, depending on how you feel, okay, give up. No, you don't give up. You try one more time.
Give up.
And I would hate to say it, but the majority of those traits, where you keep on going, does not come from the mom.
Yeah.
It comes from a father saying, so what? You fell, get your butt, get back up.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we got to make sure and stuff that little implementation of when you fail, you try one more time. Hate to say it and stuff. I'm proud to say it, but hey, you fail. Okay, get back up. Yeah, I'm not going to pick you up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And and that's where we got to make sure and stuff that those kids have that in them. And if it's just, if it's just the mom, then the rest of the community, like alluded to, the community in the sense of, the uncles and the cousins, the males in the family need to step up and actually say, hey, get your butt back up and stuff. Oh, it's too cold outside for you to go catch the bus. No, mom is not going to drop you to school. Put your coat on and go wait for the bus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what teaches you the discipline.
And as always, we want to thank you guys for tuning in with us for another awesome episode of Trucking and Common Sense. And I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from one of my favorite people of all time. His name is Frederick Douglass. He says, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. I'm your guy, Wes, and that's my man, Batman. See you guys. And we're going to do more than you're going to see us before next Sunday. I promise.
Yeah, definitely. And just to actually touch on it. Yes, our show is Trucking and Common Sense. And past couple episodes and stuff, we've been talking about trucking. And we just wanted to, bring this last two episodes, just talking about some common sense stuff. So it's not that we're getting away from, the first part of our title, but there are going to be some more things coming out. There's some, some new things coming through the world of trucking, but we just wanted to touch base on something that we have not touched base on in a while, which is some everyday topics, everyday common sense. So what's the call to task, Wes? Subscribe, comment.
So like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment,
Yeah.
subscribe. If you know other men, it doesn't even have to be just men, but you know, most of what we talk about resonates with men. If you know other men that can benefit from what you heard, share it with them. It takes a second to share it. Say, hey, my man, you should check this out. These two dudes are solid. No sucker shit, no flower shit. Men.
Yeah.
Ain't no
Men's men, you know what I mean?
Men. Ain't no he's identified as a butterfly today. None of that sucker shit. It's men.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like two self-made brothers right here, raising our kids, and just just making our way in the world. So definitely, you know what I mean? Respect, like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you comment. If you think like how we thinking, share it with us.
All right, man. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Peace.